Sorry, take my clothes off. Not clothes off. All right. So it is the 19th, February the 19th, and this is the soloQue podcast. Um, sorry, just a little bit late because how do I put it? Trying to plan things out and didn't work out as well as I wanted to. But welcome. Been to believe, and the first one's already up. Just a quick note. Unfortunately, I did not meet my original timeline of to get a video up by end of the month. Well, did, but it wasn't this video. It wasn't the video I was working on. A podcast thing, whatever the case might be. Um, excuse me. That will be up probably near the end of the month instead of earlier. Oh, I'm sorry. Anyways, so hmm, wow. Anyways, welcome to the soloQue podcast, where I try to attempt to carry myself on my own 2 feet. Wow, I actually don't have a good opening for this. So let's just get started with, I guess, what I've been playing. Wait, right. I'm gonna talk about that school trip. I have this little of going. Uh, I was delaying every far, and it made it very difficult to get stuff done earlier than I wanted to. I did record the audio lines, but let's just say the last time I worked on it was on the 20th of last month. Um, a long distance between here and the 17th. Anyways, first things first, I did finish Golden Sun. Finished it a couple days late, about Friday. Yeah, because I decided not to beat Dolholan because he was kicking my ass, so I had to grind. I grinded on stream. I grinded with, I grinded and beat him at the same time. Yeah, he was still pretty freaking difficult. Same with Doom Dragon. Doom Dragon still kicked my ass. At least one. First time I got the first party died pretty quickly. The second time I was able to summon him down and then got lucky and he didn't remove all my Jin. And I was able to beat him with a whole lot of I don't know, ass kicking. I still enjoy the games. I would say that probably other RPGs have better systems in place. By that I mean better battle systems. Like it still had a relatively interesting battle system, although the Jin, when you try to use them, pretty much breaking the system. But no, like I was just thinking about like Chrono Cross, where it does have the ability to reactions per turn if you want, or stronger ones by sacrificing stamina. I still want to see those RPGs, regardless of what they are, that do the system of, if you put in, it being able to give your characters per turn, either more abilities to do per turn or worth per turn, if that makes any sense. And all the game was still interesting, as the fact that AOE is pretty much everything. That's pretty. I like that. The summons were better in the second game because there's more of them, and they're multi elemental. Okay, so overall, um, good games. I can see that, I can note where there's some story elements that are kind of getting a little flimsy. Um, okay, so I just need to briefly talk about this before I start talking. Since the game has been, what was it? It's well over 10 years old, so I have this little rule I'm starting to implement, that if a game's about over 10 years old, then odds are, if you haven't played it, you weren't really planning on playing it because people were generally people play a game that they want to play within the first 5 years, and if they really want to get around to it, they'll get around to it the next 5 years. Other than that, spoilers go. It's been 10 years. That's my 10-year rule. And so when it comes to Golden Sun, a lot of the characters really have what I would consider the arcs, right? Or even any much, a whole lot of character, well, development. They do, but they don't, right? Like, Mia isn't throughout the most of the second game. I mean, and a lot of what she contributes is this, that, and this. But a lot of what she, I guess, a lot of her portion ends up being resolved in the lighthouses, especially at the end. Sheba, kind of, but not so much. Felix is your avatar, so he doesn't really talk through most. Am I being cut off early? I hope not. Felix gets gonna turn up mic a little bit. Okay. Yeah, Felix is that. Jenna's the one who actually gets a complete full arc because family dies, finds out the family's not dead, has to join on a quest to make sure that, everyone doesn't die. And then it almost believes her family's dead again because they killed them because they were turned into a dragon. Garrett, on the other hand, the most he's had is literally at the end. Garrett's worried about his family suddenly. I mean, I can understand why. But saying, oh no, you almost think maybe his family is dead, but then they're not. So I don't have a problem with that. I'm just thinking, damn, I wish they had more character moments for these Garrett guys. I think that would have been interesting. I think it would have also been interesting if we could have somehow, on a return to a new area, if hearing about Isaac's group, Baron in my pace, would have been pretty interesting. But yeah, that game's done. Apparently there's a hard mode. I'm probably going to end up recording it again at one point later. Because I actually do want to do a series of, I want to say, reviews, almost. I don't know, it sounds like weird that I'd be doing a review of something, because, I mean, technically going over something is reviewing it, but people have a very specific standard of what a review means. Other things I've been playing, I restarted playing Unturned, a very basic zombie survival game. Super basic, but has a lot more than when I originally played it. UI is better, but it's still pretty terrible. But it's still fun. It was even more fun because I first started getting my I basically got killed a lot when I first played. Swapped to easy, and I realized, there's a lot of stuff to do. Like, you can actually physically build a house. It's funny. Unfortunately, I accumulated a lot of stuff and realized that there was less of a real challenge, so stocking up to go to an army base is not really so difficult. Then I played it again on normal. There's different zombie types. That is ridiculous. But I find it fun because I think it's one of the only few games I've seen that are zombie related that are specifically based around vehicle. Not well, they have some basis around vehicles. They even do some things where you can actually, what do you put it? It's not specifically attached to vehicles, but you can intercept the geometry of a vehicle. You can put a chest on top of it. You can put rifle racks on the side, which is what I did to attach like my rifle, my shotgun, my axe, and stuff. Some things you can you can actually pop the battery out of the main thing. That's awesome. I have a car. It's actually helicopters and mopeds, not mopeds, ATVs, and even boats, which are like, whoa. I don't know. I find it interesting because the entire point is zombie outbreak. You have to go in, find. You have to go into a town, find a weapon, kill something, and gather resources from the main town. While you can set up sustainability in say a base, you do still have to what's the word? You can build a sustainability of a base and build a farm and stuff. But a lot of what you need to build is stuff you have to get from or stuff you want you have to get from towns. If you need gas, you can't just make gas. You have to take it out of pumps, and they do refill. But you need a lot of cans. If you want power, you need cans. If you want to make a huge generator, you need multiple smaller generators or something like that. It's interesting, I think, to say the least, because on normal, they actually have degraded quality for everything. Everything takes up certain slots, like a square, another square, or some things take up two, some things take up four in a box shape. But yeah, you'd have some level of personal sustainability. There's a lot of stuff you can do. I wouldn't say it's like the most well tuned, but it's still pretty fun. I end up finding myself playing 4 hours without realizing it. Let's see. Unturned is one of those games where I think it was made by somebody who probably knew only X amount about who knows video games, but still ended up creating a game that became very popular. I don't know how popular it is, but I know it is pretty popular because it's free and you can technically buy a gold membership, which is supporting the thing. I might actually just do that even if I don't play it as much anymore, but I might still do that because it supports developers. And I'm all about supporting developers. I'm just trying to think because I really do enjoy the game. It is a lot more difficult on normal. Like holy shit. But it just makes me think because like thinking about like a game like Minecraft where the entire point of it is about mining and crafting. This thing isn't really about it's about crafting, but it's not really about mining as much because one, there's no subfloors, something where you can build houses and structures, but they have to be placed within specific parameters. So you have to place things on the floor. You have to place walls in between a post or a pillar. I mean, roof on top of there. Ladders can be placed a lot of places. Um, I don't think it really worries too much about gravity, although it does have some level of gravity. Oh, interesting thing it does with inventory that I really like. So generally, you put on clothing. You can rip up clothing to turn it into cloth, which can be used to turn into bandages or other stuff. That's awesome. But then, and you can salvage a whole lot of other stuff. Make like scrap metal, and then you can take scrap metal and turn it to say metal bars, yada yada yada. You can repair stuff with cloth. You can repair stuff with metal. One of the coolest things they do is they give you an inventory set for your hands, which is pretty tiny. Two, they give you an inventory set that comes in your clothes. So one on a basic shirt, one on your pants, and one on a backpack of sorts, and then also one on a type of like overclothing, like a sweater vest or armor. And that's how all of your inventory is gotten. And you can literally just swap out this or that in order to give yourself more room. Now, I think only specific armors give more room than say some like sweater vests, which are like technically one of the better storage spaces, storage equipments, but it does not give a whole lot of armor. Which it's kind of that whole choice of do I need armor or do I need space? Hmm. Um. So I like that thing about that you can find new armor and stuff, or find new clothing and just swap it out. The you can put stuff on your face and you put stuff on your head. It doesn't really do anything like stat wise. I mean, it might, but overall, it doesn't give inventory space. But that's the one thing I like. The idea that, oh, you have pants pockets, you have pockets on your shirt, stuff. They have various guns. You can technically make very basic guns on your own. You can refill ammunition by finding ammunition boxes. Like the idea is you can find guns, but finding them is not difficult but specific. Like police stations, or there are police stations, or there are other places like hmm, I think police stations are, oh right, gun shops, abandoned gun shops. You can go, like, just think about the variety of actual items. Construction yards, you go there and you can find, again, scrap metal. You can find car jacks at a mechanic's place. You can find a blowtorch. You can find nails. You can find a nail gun and use that as a weapon. It's pretty inaccurate, but you can still do it. Um, Pharmaceuticals. You get infected by stuff. Like there's a lot of bars. There are technically 6 bars, but only 4 of them are managed resources. The other 2 are just stuff. So the UI is pretty. It's easy to understand, but it's also kind of like there, not the best. Let's put it like that. Like it has health, it has hunger, thirst, sickness, energy, and breath. You know, and they probably could stylize it to a better degree, where health is again a bar itself, but hunger and thirst, those could probably be like a separate meter underneath it, which is just styled a little differently. And then you got sickness, which hmm, is a meter in and of itself. Or I think it's technically sickness, but like health. I mean, if they really wanted to, they could make that as a persistent empty meter. That the more it fills up, the more sick you get. But anyways, that's what medicine's for. You can purify water. Actually, you can store water. You can store fuel, because you can make these big basins. I think the closest way to actually get water is either find it at a water source. Most times it's going to be dirty, so you have to purify it with tablets. But at the same time, you can make rain buckets that whenever it rains, you can collect it from there. It's automatically clean. That's like the closest thing to making, automatic clean water. But you can put it in a reservoir. You can just a lot of stuff. I do wish they would do more with the vehicles, because something I like about zombie apocalypse are the vehicle ideas. I like the idea of the fortress on wheels, but not the fortress with machine guns. More like the fortress of, you can't get in here. I like that a lot better than the I have a lot of machine guns and I have thick armor. No, it's like just enough armor so that when you lock the vehicle, they can't get in. I don't know. There are a lot of games I think about that. Like I've thought about an idea of, I don't know, just the mobile base, where you do have to leave the base in order to find stuff, in order to get stuff, but in the meantime, you can't get me and I can move. I like that idea. Um, Base building is also a really fun aspect, and I think it's this one game that made me realize something. Wow, I like just project based gameplay, where I need to go find a car and then I need to go outfit it with chests and shit. I need to make a mobile fortress. I need to go out and go to this place and just do stuff, right? It's the same thing I do in Minecraft, the same thing I do in Factorio. A lot of these games, it's like work, but at the same time, it's also like just a whole lot of stuff that I plan out and I have a project to do. That's like the best way I can explain it. I have a project to do and I do it. Um, I don't know. That's all I can really talk about when it comes to Unturned. I could probably talk about it a lot more. It's just that those are the major points of Unturned. As I said, it's free, so it is recommendable. Again, it's very basic. Um, it's very basic in its art design. It looks kind of like Minecrafty. I think that's just for simplicity's sake. But I do think it's pretty good. A lot of the 3D model stuff is again super basic. It's fun and you can play with people. You can play it by yourself. Um, yeah, just the oh, technically there is crafting. There are skills and stuff. I mean, I don't really focus on that because skills are skills, and again, the entire UI, like I can understand why the crafting UI is the way it is. Actually, there is a separate space for something called nearby in your inventory, which is stuff that's not in your inventory, but you can pick it up and plop it down. So, or you can plop. So when you drop stuff, you can put in that nearby slot, and it'll be right there. And it reminds me of the outside area of the attaché case for Resident Evil 4. Um, that's really about it. It's a lot about inventory management and stuff. Just wish it had a better UI. That's all. I mean, it has a better UI than it had, but I do wish it had more. And I don't know. Wish it had more. What do you call it? Tech tree kind of thing. Other than that, I don't really have much else to say. Okay. On to the next game, which I played a little bit of. So I've chosen my next game for playthroughs, and the way I don't know if I actually ever explained this, but the way I'm doing games is I choose a main game, right? This is what is going to be the game I'm playing for. I want to call it main series. Sounds weird. But regardless, it's the thing I play Monday, Wednesday, Friday, sometimes Sunday. Because that's when I want to play those, right? And the days in between, usually when I want to do other stuff. And I can choose to do other stuff on the main days, but I can also choose to take Monday off because usually Monday ends up getting busy. Sorry, my nose is killing me. But yeah, for the most part, Monday, Friday, Sunday, Monday, when I do it, those are days for this main game. And the next one is Disgaea 2, PC. For anyone who doesn't know, it's also called, what's the word? Cursed Memories. Second Disgaea series, I played 2 Disgaea games already. I have not finished the first one on PC, but I think that's okay. Second one's, how do I say it? I think the first one has a better idea of a story, but the second one is so much more interesting, and I would still say 2 is best out of all of them so far. The 3 and 4, and even to D2 to some extent, have their engine kind of bothers me a little bit. I like the SD sprite or the HD sprites, but just something bothers me. Writing's not bad, but yeah. Actually, I started Disgaea 2 by accident on a day when I said I was going to finish Golden Sun. Oh, by the way, sorry. I accidentally kept Golden Sun as my active game when I was doing my assembly homework. Anyways, the thing I'm going on about is Disgaea 2. I'm not actually going to spoil it because I am playing it, even though it is more than 10. I think it 2 is 10 years old. Actually, let me look. Yeah, released in 2006 originally, so but I'm not going to spoil it because I am playing it. Um So the difference is the first game started off with a kid who wanted to be overlord, and Angel comes in, tries to kill him, but other stuff happens, and nope. I don't know. Clone's trying to figure out demons and stuff, yada yada yada. This one's a different thing. Netherworld, but the Netherworld was created by an overlord called Xenon. And there's only one human alive that hasn't been transformed, and that's Adele. Adele is our main character. Again, he's still kind of like the main idea where they're aware of video game stuff. They're aware of video game stuff. They're, it's a self-aware parody somewhat. But then again, it doesn't usually try to skimp out on its actual story. It just tries to be funny. It's camp, and I like all the games for it. But I do say that 2 does it a lot better than some of the other ones afterwards. Also, 3 and 4 have a huge theme. They theme themselves after something, which isn't bad, but I think some of them kind of do better than the others. But 2, Adele's a brawler. They try to summon Xenon. They get his daughter instead. Wah wah. And she does not like Adele. She's like of noble blood. Well, Adele is a human. And she uses a gun. And, so she basically is the exact opposite. Okay? I do think that a lot of the things are, how do you say it? It did a lot of firsts for the series. Like, it's the game that started off with a fully produced theme song. And I think I like 3 and 4's theme song. 1 has a very, very small, it's the one that goes, dude, oh my god, I can't even think about it. Like, wait a second, I can bring it up. Like, so 1, sorry. So that's the one that actually has its own okay. Trying to find it. Is this it? No, that's not it. I don't know. It has it technically it's a theme song. Laharl has his own theme song, but it's not like Laharl's theme song is actually played throughout the main the overworld, whatever you want to call it. But I wanna this guy does this song. Please start off with it. No. Laharl's hymn. Hell's Whisper. Yeah, this is what plays at the beginning. I think of both 1 and 2. I don't know if it plays at 3 and 4. Because 3 and 4 does have a large series of departures from the main series. But they don't even play too much of this, and there's no actual animation. Cursed Memories, because remember, Disgaea 1, I should probably call them by their actual name. Disgaea 1 is Hour of Darkness. 2 is Cursed Memories, except when they have their remakes. Like Afternoon of Darkness, which represents exactly what it is. It's basically a not a rehash, but like a redo of the first game, while Dark Hero Days is something that's this alternative mode, which is about Axel. Anyways, getting off topic. This has a fully animated opening sequence. It has a full-on opening theme. I think it also is the first one to use the official Disgaea. What was it? The Disgaea logo. That's what I was reading off of the wiki. Let's see. And going back to 2. I don't know. It just added systems, and if anything, there are several systems from the ongoing games that I still love, but I would definitely say I rather Disgaea 2 not be touched. They did give you the ability to download, or no, all of the downloaded characters from the actually, this is something I like that Nippon Ichi Software has done. That with every iteration of new stuff, if it has DLC, such as Dark Hero Days or Afternoon of Darkness or stuff, if they gave a DLC that you can buy off of the store for it, for like the PSP, the Vita, the next iteration will automatically include that. I like that, because I guess that by the time it comes out, they're like, we're gonna sell you this, but we're gonna sell you this plus all the new stuff instead of having you buy more DLC. So you get all the new characters um, that they gave you for Dark Hero Days. And I think that in the original in the PSP version, they did not have, some of them didn't have like voices except for ones that already had American clips, like Adele, not Adele, Amaz. Wait, I have to look something up now. But then you have like other characters like Hanako, who has a no, is it? It's not Amaz. Is it Almaz? Please tell me Almaz is his name. Um, yeah, it's Almaz. Sorry, just thinking of the Hearthstone streamer. Anyways, sorry about that. So yeah, you get those, but you get those automatically. Where in the second one, when the originally, I don't think you got those right off the bat. It's okay either way. Um, but yeah, two had a lot of things that I really did enjoy, and it feels more cohesive because it doesn't rely strictly on Laharl and Floan and Etna, even though Etna is a very big part of the game because it hasn't happened yet, but it's been alluded to that she is um the neck is one of the people that she struck out on her own. So I feel like one and two go really well together because they're not like, it's not a direct sequel, but it's kind of like they both feel like that they're in kind of a similar, not timeline, but time and space. Because from three on, things get a little bit more, well, it's not supposed to make sense, right? That's kind of what three and four are, and I understand that much. I don't know what to say because, like, again, two has a lot of interesting stuff, but it doesn't solve some things. Like monsters are still partially useless, except they do still add magic change, which, if anything, that's what Dark Hero Days was amazing with. It took a mechanic from 3 and implemented it into the PSP version, which was Magic Change, which is take a monster, equip it to a human, and that is, they get to attack with them for a limited amount of time. I like that. 4, 4 did, you can fuse monsters together, and monsters can become, Magic Change, or they can become, they can fuse, and then I don't know. There's just a lot of stuff I love about the series. I mean, I still love the series even as time goes on. Even if D2 it wasn't a letdown. It was just it feels like like Gaia, but still feels a little weird because I feel like a lot of the setup for D2 was weird. But I've already expressed my concerns about that. But yeah, I'm gonna be playing that. I'm not putting a day counter, unlike I did that for Golden Sun. I'm not putting a day counter for Gaia because pretty sure Gaia can go on for a while. Um, as for that, there's not a whole lot else at the moment. For video games, I've been more busy with school and stuff. So, how many games I've played, that's, X amount. Um, but I can say Let's see. All right, there has been a something that happened for Hearthstone, and I want to talk about that. I don't know if I'm going to give like an actual analysis because some people have talked about some things and whatnot, but Hearthstone said that they're doing more changes. Year of the Mammoth, awesome, right? Next year of the standard rotation, well, they are making some relatively large changes. So so it says the roadmap. So 2017 marks the end of the year of Kraken and the beginning of the new Hearthstone year. Yada yada yada. Um, each new Hearthstone year brings a fresh start from the thing. Well, okay, so first major expansions will be exclusive to Wild as Black Rock Mountain, Grand Tournament, and League of Explorers. Sad to see some of those cards go, but I do think things like Bran, Thorsan, card I haven't seen in a while is at least Starseeker, but those cards, nothing was wrong with them. But I do think it is time for them to go and be retired because now we get to have new stuff. And I want to see new stuff. But they've also changed some other things, and these ones are pretty big. I'm not going to play the video because that's not mine. So one thing they stated is that they implemented this and did stuff in the year of the Kraken, but there's a main problem that their idea of rotating out older or so many older sets and use newer sets to give the game more life, but then they realized certain cards exist in Hearthstone in the basic set that are so powerful and so just generally good that they're just going to show up. Like a lot of old Druid decks and I think older Rogue decks are mostly their sets. What do you call it? Basic cards, right? Class cards. They plan on doing something where they take similar to how the reward set, like what's the card? Reward sets. Holy shit, I'm blanking. Murkai, Captain Greenskin, all those things where you get them for doing something special. No, Captain Greenskin wasn't. It was the parrot. Well, they're doing something called Hall of Fame cards, where they're not taking them out because they're broken or because they're terrible, but because they actually do hinder the ability of the game to, change. The cards I'm actually going to go over here have this main problem of they're just being so good that you don't really care to play any other set of cards. All right, like the first one here is Azure Drake. It is a very strong neutral card. So it says Azure Drake is a strong neutral card that ended up being a bit too versatile and thus became one of the most played cards in the game. There should be more 5-drop options for players rather than considering Azure Drake an auto include. And see, the problem wasn't that it was an auto include. I think the problem is that just a lot of the cards aren't really that good. 5-drops. I mean, ever since what's the thing? Let's just see. So I'm looking at it. Goblins versus Gnomes didn't have any powerful 5-drops. It did have powerful 7-drop, which beat out everything else. But it didn't have any powerful 5-drops. Naxxramas did. It had 2 of them. And those ones were played heavily in decks that wanted them, and the ones that couldn't use them because of a lack of damage or stats, but heavy in defensiveness. Like Azure Drake was this whole. It started out as this whole problem where you didn't play too many 5-drops, or you didn't play too many good 5-drops. Azure Drake was the only thing at the start of Hearthstone, right? Sludge Belcher kind of changed that, but then that went away. So now you have this issue of Azure Drake. And I think that they're going to address some of these issues also with card expansions, even though they haven't directly said anything about that just yet. The next one is Sylvanas Windrunner. It is pretty good. But again, it is probably a lot better just because of that mind control effect. So similar to Azure Drake, it is hard to see a card at the 6 mana cost outvalue Sylvanas. Yeah, it's just hard. Yeah. In addition, Sylvanas has the most powerful Death Rattle effect in the game. As a comparison, the Priest card Mind Control costs 10 mana. We have exciting Death Rattle build around coming soon, and in the combination with Sylvanas, they would be too powerful for Standard. So yeah, her overall Death Rattle is problematic. Again, I don't think it was bad for the game. I do think that, one, you don't really play other 6-drops. If you want to play a control deck and play 6-drop mana card, you play Sylvanas. That's just it. And Sylvanas did end up kind of making this whole, even though there are cards, 6 mana cards that have more stats, it seems like 6 mana 5/5 is okay. But maybe they can do different things now. But yeah, as the game goes on, you have issues with having this effect in the game, that if you have too many new cards, that you can make things too powerful. And I think the last in the neutral set is Ragnaros the Fire Lord. Sad to see it go, but what they say is Ragnaros is heavily played in both control and mid-range decks, and even show up as a finisher in certain types of aggro decks. Well, that's a new one by me, I didn't know that. His high immediate value and his strength at the 8 mana cost made the decision during deck building: is this 8 mana minion better than Ragnaros, rather than is this 8 mana minion the best choice for my deck type. Dozens of cards in the 7 to 9 mana range never saw play because Ragnaros was always the easy choice in that range, and some decks only want to run one high cost card. And this is the problem. You only get to the later turns so far. Like mid-range probably could run Ragnaros, probably could run A7. They don't want to run too many in those higher mana costs because, one, how many times can you play those in a turn? Probably just one per turn, right? Maybe with another card on top of it, but it has to be a very, very, very weak card. Ragnaros, you can play this in Hero Power. But Ragnaros ended up being better. I said Ragnaros twice. I'm trying to not be redundant like that. But yeah, that was one of the major issues of Ragnaros. And I don't think that see a problem with taking him out. Why? Because he is just overall generally better. And being better isn't a bad thing. It's just Standard's entire point is to, every time a year rolls around, that cards get removed and cards get added. Therefore, you get more. You get to change up the actual competitive side of the game. And you can still play everything in Wild. It's not like you can't play it. Now we got some class cards coming in. So Power Overwhelming is one of the first ones. So this card allows extreme mana efficiency, extremely mana efficient minion trades or high spikes of damage for only 1 mana. Keeping this card exclusive to Wild will prevent some of the crazy combinations and spike damage. Warlock decks also tend to use a lot of classic cards, so the deck changes less when new expansions release. This change will help increase the variety of cards in Warlock decks over time, hopefully. So yeah, this is the main thing. This allows incredible, ridiculous combos that could happen, including Emperor Thaurissan, which is probably one of the reasons why I don't really care for Thaurissan to be in the game or the Standard anymore, because you can literally do one round, get 2 Power Overwhelmings for free, and then face the Manipulator and do a lot of damage all in one turn. And that's not, combos aren't terrible, but combos also can be bullshit if they're not done right. Well, not done right as in design-wise. But yeah, I think when this card was made, it was more heavily a downside because you didn't really have to worry about your board. I mean, your board wasn't really so sticky. Nowadays, it is. Icelands. So Freeze Mage is a fun deck and has been around for over 3 years now, and now we'd like to see more variety with Mage decks after each major release. This move allows Freeze Mage to continue existing in Wild while creating more variety in Standard. Icelands also prevents us from making powerful spell damage cards and designs that allow you to duplicate the card. Icelands was also a very high burst damage card, sometimes being a key component of 30 damage combos. So I have seen someone say that they really should have not just rolled it out. They should have made the situation different. Like if it's frozen, it should deal 6 damage to a minion and yada yada yada. And you know what? I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think that's a bad idea because Ice Lance has existed in the game for X long. So has Freeze Mage, and it feels kind of weird when you take Ice Lance and well, any card really, like Mountain Giant and some of the cards they nerfed in order to make room for other cards in Standard. Well, it makes it feel like, well, now you can no longer play Standard Handlock in Wild. You just can't. And I think that's a mistake, in all honesty. So I do think that changing that is also like changing the card is a mistake because now you can no longer play Standard Freeze Mage in Wild. Why is that a problem? I think because since it's not a competitive mode, or at least a mode used for the esports part of the scene, it's not a problem. But whatever. I think that it was always problematic because you could always do that and then boom, 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 and kill everybody, kill people. Conceal. Stealth is a very powerful mechanic and can also be very frustrating to play against. Some more classic cards than others. Hearthstone should ultimately be a game of plays and counterplays, and Conceal makes it incredibly more difficult with other classes to interact with rogue minions as time goes on. We considered promoting Gadgetan Auctioneer to Wild instead, but at the end we decided to move Conceal because Auctioneer has proven to be one of the most skill-tested cards in the game. We think the power level of Auctioneer decreases with this change, and the games where Auctioneer is played will be a bit more interactive. I can see that. It does take away the thing when people get like stupidly large Ed wins. I've done that before, but it is pretty stupid, if you ask me. And then Conceal it because, like, okay, now you set it for a 2-turn kill. Fun to do, not fun to play against. So I don't think there are too many terrible ideas, but I did watch Brian Kibler's video, and he does talk about it would be nice if you could take all the the cards that were removed or nerfed in in the earlier of last year. If it would be better and more awesome if those things could be rolled into the Hall of Fame set and have the nerfs reverted. Blizzard doesn't tend to revert nerfs, it seems, but it would be nice if they did do that so you can at least play some of the old standard decks in some of the old basic decks in Wild. They said we want to allow players to disenchant classic cards that are being added to the Hall of Fame set for a full dust refund. So yeah, these cards they do get to be refunded. But we felt that incentivizing a player to dust their cool Wild cards was a counter to making Wild awesome. So instead, we're going to give you the dust, and you can keep the cards. Okay, that's interesting. I'm just trying to think. Mostly Ragnaros, Sylvanas, and Azure. I have those three. Those are the only three, I think. I can't remember if Conceal. I think Power Overwhelming is actually a full-on basic, but I know that. So I'm pretty sure I have all those cards. Yeah, that does mean that if you have, oh my god, if you have a Golden Ragnaros, you'll get 320 dust. Ooh, I have to see when this is going to be because I need to look if I can. I don't think I have a Gold Ragnaros just yet. Okay, adventures and expansions, venturing and expansions. So I think that the one main issue that they looked at was they alternated expansions and adventures, 2 adventures, 1 expansion, alternating. And the problem with this is it doesn't give a whole lot of cards, right? So I think what let's see. They said our release cycle will include a 130 card expansion from the start of the year, a 130 another 130 during the middle, and a third 130 expansion at the end of the year. So let's see. The reason why they're changing at their core, adventures paint colorful and thematic stories about the Hearthstone universe. Imagine being able to learn about the history and lore behind each of our sets, inside of the main game in a similar way. Yada yada yada. Defining jades, all that kind of stuff. It's basically about storytelling. What they're telling, is what they're saying. Pretty much gives you a PVE experience. But the main thing is this gives you more cards, meaning more, you know, since all these cards are going to be going away, fewer options will be seen, which makes it a lot more difficult to go do a thing. This, on the other hand, allows, again, more cards. So by the end of the year, we will have a lot more cards to actually look at and say, here, we can do this. And it's, I think, one problem that's been kind of voiced is we don't have a whole lot of cards to work with on a consistent basis. So 3 expansions with, and I think they said that they're going to be taking single player missions in there. So it's changing what adventures were. Fireside gatherings, blah blah blah. Like I could talk about some of these, but I don't know. There is a new rogue hero, which rogue really needed a hero, especially since there is some actual popularity among rogue every now and then. But I don't really. That's pretty much it. I do think it's a nice idea to say that, yeah, what we were doing was not working, so instead of being, stubborn and just keep on doing it. Now, there is another problem, though, and I do agree with this one, that the problem is a lot of the answers that you have, like spells and such, spells or even minions, that are made to counter particular cards are exceptionally specific, right? Like, you can play minions at any point in time, no problem. And stats usually end up winning out. And I can understand why, some spells, but not all of them have, like, huge levels of versatility. I think Hex was one of the only ones that actually does this, where you can technically use it, where you can use it to transform a minion into transform a minion into a Toad with Taunt or a Frog with Taunt, and then you can use it defensively, blah, blah, blah. I think the only thing that's semi-closer to this would be Polymorph Boar, but for the most part, you have to really wait. But it's whatever. So we'll see how that works. Year of the Mammoth, and I think that's all I have for video games. I'm just gonna go briefly over one other thing, a couple other things. Recently just got my computer upgraded. Yeah, so I noticed that my someone actually pointed out that my graphics card was completely out of date. I used a NVIDIA GeForce 650 when I got it in 2013, which someone told me that, yeah, that was actually pretty good for the year. Like, awesome. But then stuff got better, and I never upgraded. So now I installed a 970. Unfortunately, the first time I did that, everything shut down like about 2 hours after I put it up. Why? I had a 500 watt power supply. The 500 watt power supply could give out enough power, but then, at one point just gave out entirely. Yeah. So I actually got a Corsair 750? It's 750, I think, CX. No, 750? I don't remember. Only was done by Corsair. Corsair? Corsair is probably better. Not Corsair. I'm bad with words. Let's see. The upside, it's modular. Right? The one I had before, I don't remember the brand name, but it wasn't modular. It had every single connection you would want. And the problem, and that sounds good, but the problem with that is you have all those connections inside your system, which means you have to stuff the cables somewhere. This, I'm able to hook up, everything that I need and no more. All the extra cables can just be held onto until I upgrade. And looking at it, I'm thinking maybe I should at one point upgrade my stuff even more over time. Because my next plan is, after I get that, like, I plan to get a bigger case, and I plan to get other stuff, another hard drive, although I do know that a secondary hard drive does not, it gives me another drive, it doesn't give me, like, it doesn't expand upon my space. Like, think of it like 2 hard drives. Windows does not take 2 hard drives and treat them like one. I can't remember if it was Linux or something with Unix does that, but I think it was Linux. But it's whatever. Because the entire idea is afterwards, at one point, I'm probably going to end up building, or slowly taking this old stuff, putting in new stuff, and probably at one point getting a whole new larger hard disk, and then installing a different, wow, what's the word? Hard disk, new hard disk, then installing a BIOS, not BIOS, an OS all my own, right? So instead of buying it, which you end up getting a whole lot of junk, yeah, it's probably better just to build one. Because another thing that was brought up for why it's better to build one, not just that you understand what the fuck's inside your computer, you also don't have to worry about getting all that promotional junk. Because there is some stuff you just really don't need in there, and some stuff you can't get rid of. So yeah. The good news is working right now. It did have some hiccups when I first started it up. That's part of the reason why I also kind of had to delay the stream today. But yeah, right now my setup's doing better. Hopefully the thing allows me to do some more modern stuff, because 650 wasn't terrible for a standard computer, for like an office computer, work computer. But what I need is a lot more. One other thing, let's just see. Talking about January versus February, because I don't know if I talked about this on stream, but I did talk about this on my last video. It was concerning this new year. The first quarter of the year is all about kind of upping my productivity. The entire year is about that, but like most of it's about getting stuff set down. So the first year was taking first month, January, was all about trying to see if I could improve my systems enough where I have, because let's see, more accountability and being able to take out more time to do stuff, right? More improvements. Because at the end of December, I realized that I have several I keep track of all my stuff, all my tasks, and I realized I had several that were completely unaccounted for because I didn't put them across months. And that's not good. So January was relatively okay. But I'm trying to think. February was all about getting the stuff done, right? Actually putting in more time and getting stuff done earlier. And unfortunately, I didn't do that until about a week ago, because I been able to do it. I just haven't gotten a whole lot done, right? This week I just got my homework in before the time I needed to. It's actually kind of stressful when you get everything in the day of, because when you get stuff done the day of, you start thinking, did I just do that? It's weird. So January, all about making time, getting better use of my time, and then February is all about just using it. I want to use it more efficiently. How do I put this? Then I want February to be all about getting that time used. How do I put it? Better? I want to make sure that the whole reason why I do this is because I want to make sure that that I have control of my time, because time is the pretty much the most valuable resource we have. It's non-renewable. Like, a lot of stuff is non-renewable, but I would say that that's the most non-renewable resource that we got going on. Just see what else. So yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to think of a way to how to word this. Trying to get something up before the end of the month. The end of the month is not this Tuesday, but next Tuesday. So I need to aim to get something done by get something done by this Sunday, which is also when I need to get this podcast up. Um, what else? I just think this year is kind of going to a rocky start, but I need to keep on getting ahead. Didn't really think this out as much as I would hope, because it's hard to really articulate what I'm trying to do. Because I'm trying to, as I said, take more of my time and figure out where the fuck it's going, and then put it into doing stuff instead of just doing nothing. Because that's what I end up doing. um Pretty much all there is for that. So okay, last thing I'm going to talk about is something that does kind of occur to me every now and then, is the aspect of streaming, which the main reason why I stream is because it's always been kind of an interesting thing to do, and it's how do you put it? It's an interesting thing to do, interesting thing to be a part of. Second. The main reason why I actually do stream is because someone say I do have the voice for it, at least for let's play and commentary and stuff. I'm like, huh. So yeah, actually, I did look into streaming, and streaming for me is just a weird thing. I think I've already talked about this. This is more about just getting things done. It has shown that my new organizational method is a sufficiently good method because I'm able to do this so often now, and I do also use as a time tracking thing to see how many hours I put into streaming. Same thing with this podcast like thing. Even though no one's watching it, I do. I think this also gets me going and doing something, right? That's the whole thing. I want to go and do something because I'm pretty sure my brain just likes to not do stuff, and I'm like, I really love doing stuff. So for me, the idea of streaming has always been but has been auxiliary, right? Because some people say that streaming is a viable career, and it's like that's awesome. But when I think of the word career, I think of, well, first off, career and I have always had a weird relationship because a career isn't in. Okay, so if you look up just the first thing that pops up when you put in career into the Google's, it says a career is an individual's journey through learning, working, and other aspects of life. There are a number of ways to define a career, and the term is used for a variety of ways. Blah 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 blah. My thing is, I always see this used a lot, like in Donald's ads. Flexible hours, career full of advancement. Yeah. But at the same time, career for streaming is very different because a career for streaming is all about, well, entertainment. Entertainment is also very volatile, right? Because there are some people who, I think big names that I grew up at least hearing about, maybe never seeing their movies or stuff. Nowadays, they're not really around. Yeah. So that's the thing. So it's all about relevancy and attention. So it always makes me wonder when people try to, do a thing and they stream it, it's not bad to say I'm a streamer, but the question is streaming as paramount to what you're doing? It's something I think about a lot because something what I want to do, streaming is just a side thing. It's like an additional thing I do on top of that. Now, I don't do YouTube right now, but that's what I'm trying to do. And just, for right now, it's just a hobby. I don't plan to do any of this stuff as a career because, man, it's like not worth the investment right now because I only have 24 subscribers on my YouTube channel now. So I can't really get the peoples to the stuff. And I know that if I did dedicate time to it, I could probably get it up. I probably could. But at the same time, it's going to take a lot of work in areas, and I do have to have something in the meantime. But I always liken streams to similar to like stand-up comedy, even though they do have to like have some skits, not skits, more like improv, but still stand up, where you have to, where everything you do is all about create something before, like they create a sketch or a bit, and then they perform it live. Me, I want to create a thing. You know, I don't. People who do stream, that's fine, but I always feel it's kind of weird when people who do stuff on the YouTube and then kind of convert over to full time streaming. Well, again, if YouTube itself making content for YouTube, I think is stuff that's uniquely for YouTube because it's it's not only edited, it's not like it was made with the intention of being on YouTube. It's not like highlights, which again, not bad, but a highlight reel is just reused stuff put onto YouTube. So I feel like streamers who use YouTube are just using it. It is used as a repository. I don't consider those people YouTubers. And if they went from it always makes me feel weird when they go from you since they have to go to YouTube to Twitch because YouTube they can't make as much stuff as they once could, and that's fine that they can't do that. But it always feels weird because it's like, as I said, I want to create a thing. I want to go in. I want to go through the actual creative process of conceptualizing an idea, fleshing it out, doing the various parts of either recording, drawing, and assembling it. It reminds me of like programming, right? I want to make video games I say I want to make video games when I grow up. I'm already grown up. I want to make video games for a living. So I want to, assemble stuff, but just doing code is like a puzzle. I don't mind streaming, and I wouldn't mind doing this as a type of money making thing if it was ever possible. Right now, I don't see it as ever possible because no one watches. But I wish people would stop moving around in the house. It's actually going to make me very nervous. But yeah, for me, it just doesn't seem like my thing to do as a primary. Like, I don't consider myself a Twitch streamer because that would mean it's my primary. I just don't. I want to, if I were to do something, I would rather first start doing YouTube stuff. But if anything, I would actually prefer to make video games. I want to do the creative process. That's it. There's a process to streaming. It's just not the kind of entertainment I want to perform. Same thing with podcasts. This is not something I don't do this because it gives me inherent like joy. Because again, no one watches it. No one cares about the random bullshit a Ginger says on the line. But whatever. I do this because I want to. And I wouldn't want to make a huge podcasting network because to some people it's like awesome. To me, if I did, it would just be another thing. I would have investment in it, of course, but I still would prefer to assemble a thing. I like understanding systems. Working together with that kind of stuff. But no, it's not bad to be a streamer. I just think people don't really differentiate between primary and secondary. And for me, it's just, I don't really have many ideals to use streaming as a viable career, as a career, not viable career, because it's like difficult. Difficult. Just to do something that doesn't really line up with what I want to do. Then again, even if I can't make video games, making software again, it still tickles that part of my brain. Streaming again is just me playing a video game and me doing commentary and stuff, and it is fun, and I do like the concept, but I do always feel like it's kind of an attachment to something. Like I never really have an intention of being I'm a streamer and I'm doing this, kind of like a let's player, like Markiplier, where his whole thing, he makes YouTube videos that are of him playing video games and sometimes streaming. That's fine. I don't mind. I actually do like watching some of his stuff because he actually does have some genuinely good thoughts. He overreacts, but then again, who gives a fuck? Sometimes it's funny. It's also the same reason why I don't really want to do too many vlogs on stuff, because I want to assemble something. I actually want to go through the process of assembling something, and now I'm kind of becoming a broken record on this entire fact. So I just want to make a thing. I want to make things. I want to make things, right? I want to do stuff that's uniquely for its medium. I don't want to say I want to push the medium. I just want to take things in a different way, but also not think it's better than it actually is, because a lot of stuff I do is just kind of terrible. But I'll do the terrible in hopes that at one point it becomes better. Well, that's kind of enough rambling for today. I think I actually ended up getting more time than I thought I would. So that's the end of this. This episode will be up on YouTube hopefully by Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. I've got some class stuff to take care of, so if I can get that done early. I've got one class that was only for the first half of the semester. That means I only have 3 classes in this next point. Awesome. I might have to change up my streaming schedule a little bit because I'm going to have to take a math course, and I'm going to have to go over to another campus to go do it. And it's going to be every day, but it is what it is. So that said, again, this is going to be on my YouTube channel, D Red Baron, Twitter, all that stuff. I'm trying to get another video up. I'm not actually going to say what it is just yet. I'm also trying to think about other minimal videos that I might want to start putting up on top of other videos, because things that are just simpler to make. So that said, I'm going to do the usual ending with a song. This is the actual opening theme to Disgaea 2 Cursed Memories. So I want to thank anyone who stopped by. Thank you for any posts that you may have done, even though I purposely turned that off because I don't want it to interfere with the podcast portion of this. Sorry if I sound kind of like dazed. I'm just kind of like out of it. But yeah, thank you for watching, and have a good night.